Today in this video, I am so sorry for this white noise that's gonna be in the background. It is because of the heat wave. I tried to film without my AC, like I have like a little portable AC for my room, and I tried to do it without it, and I genuinely couldn't get through even 10 minutes of the video. Oh man, I'm not made for this. I think because of the sound of the AC, it's gonna be a little bit more even sound because it covers up the sound of the street. So maybe it's gonna be kind of calming for some of you if you like white noise. I don't know. I hope so. I've had a lot of requests before to talk about K-pop styling, and I had a lot of different types of requests that pertain to K-pop. Some people were asking for restyling of comebacks that they didn't like. Some requests were about men's fashion. So the next thing I did, I asked you guys in the community post about the comebacks and stylings that you didn't like, or that you think overall community didn't like, the fans of the groups didn't like, and I'm going to talk about some of them today. And I've got a lot of suggestions. There's a lot to like talk about, you know, so I'm going to break it up a little bit. I'm gonna talk about a few groups and a few comebacks today, and then we're gonna talk about some other ones next time. So if you don't see the groups that you suggested today, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna cover it. So the first one we're gonna talk about is Zimzalabim, and you probably expected that if you've seen the community post or if you commented on it, because I got so many Zimzalabim suggestions. All of this, I'm gonna say that I have a little bit of a controversial opinion on this comeback. There were a couple people who were talking about this comeback and saying that they want to defend it because they knew that people were gonna come and comment about it. I'm gonna say that you don't really have to defend it or anything like that with me, because I actually like it, but I have a few problems with it that I think took it down from this level where it could have been seen as revolutionary and innovative and perfectly done, to something that's kind of divisive, because it's kind of not easy to like because of a few things that are kind of really jumping out at you as a viewer. And for example, this image that I have on right now, you can see that it is quite well balanced. I know that this is a little bit crazy for some people, the things that they're wearing, the way that they're layered and stuff like that. I understand that. However, this is quite an eccentric comeback, and I personally really appreciate eccentric comebacks. I'm one of those people that likes Zimzalabim, okay? I'm sorry to all the people who really didn't like that comeback, but I find it really interesting at first when I listened to the song for the first time. By the way, I am a fan of Red Velvet, so I kind of have a little bit more context than some other groups that we're going to be talking about. But with this comeback, based on the teasers, especially that beat that was in the teasers, I was kind of expecting something that's a very signature Red Velvet, in a way of having something very colorful and cute mixed with something a little bit sinister or a little bit horror-esque, was my expectation based on this clip. So when I first listened to it, it did deliver on the signature disjointedness, kind of, or very experimental trajectory of the song, which I think suits the concept of the festival, especially considering that they have this festival rides in the video and stuff like that. It makes sense that the song is kind of also traveling in the same way, in terms of going from very high points of high energy to really low points of low energy. But at first, when I listened to it, I was a little bit confused as to how I feel about it, because it did not deliver on the weirdness in terms of something sinister going on, and that's what kind of got me hooked on Red Velvet. I got into this group during Peekaboo era, so obviously it's kind of very basic of me to get into them because of that era, but it's just, I really like coven-like things with really bright colors. I really like the dichotomy of having really bright, cute concepts mixed with something a little bit gross sometimes, like in Cookie Jar when they had a bunch of confections and then inside it turns out that there's a bunch of gross materials in there, you know, like the shoelaces, and there's some insects crawling around it or whatever are on it. Like, I really like how interesting they are, and they never go too far where it kind of is too off-putting for me, and I find them very entertaining and interesting. With Zimzalabim, I think it's so difficult for people to like, because the issue is not even with the colors, because it's actually quite well balanced in terms of colors. If you look at Joy, she has red going on in her outfit. She's got this pop of green, this specific type of green that recurs in Yeri's outfit, and then you have the same red in Yeri's outfit and in Solgi's outfit, and then Wendy has this purple that's balanced out by sulcus purple, and there's a little bit of gray slash silver going on too. These outfits, this particular picture that I'm using right now, they're done pretty well, I think. There's also this outfit set that kind of was heavily featured as well. I think that what unites these outfits is obviously the green, the blues, the pinks, but also it's kind of like a theme with a lot of outfits in this era with the biker shorts. Let's be real, when this song came out, they were not even at their peak of popularity yet, but they were going up there, and it's kind of actually fashion forward in terms of like them using it. It's just not particularly something that I'm into, but it doesn't, like, it's not a bad choice per se, and it's also a unifying choice as well. The gloves, the asymmetric gloves, the fact that most of them have only one glove when they do have it. There's a lot of asymmetry going on, there's a couple of things. So first of all, Wendy's outfit in this particular lineup of outfits just isn't good. It doesn't fit her, and I also don't think that it fits all the other girls' silhouettes either. Like, it's not like they're wearing the same length of skirts or anything like that, but they have a very similar silhouette. Even Irene, she's not wearing a skirt or anything like that, but she has this scarf looking thing going down from her shirt. It's just one of those things where Wendy is standing out, but like not in a good way, because she's not standing out as in, oh, she looks really good. It's more like she kind of blends into the background unless you pay attention to her outfit because of how bad it is. This outfit is genuinely one of those things that I just don't get. I know that this shirt was made out of a bag. I understand what they were going for, considering that there's a lot of swapping of clothes going on in terms of what these clothes were supposed to be used as, like switching a skirt to be a top or switching pants to be sleeves or something like that, like cutting them up and using them in a different way. Like, I get that, but I think that it doesn't look like it was made out of a bag. Actually, it doesn't reference a different piece of clothing to contribute to the whimsical nature of the outfits. It actually just looks like it's, I don't know, cut up Muppet or something like that. I don't know what they were thinking, because you could have used this bag to make a shirt. That's fine. But the length of it, the amount of material that they left on it, the way that it makes her look. Another thing is Irene's shorts. I have a dislike for shorts like this. I have a pair of similar ones, and they're like from way back, from like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. They're just like a very lazy item that doesn't actually look good ever. And by look good, I mean look stylish or interesting or fashionable. It's one of those pieces of clothing that I've noticed in K-pop a lot, especially in groups where stylists are definitely more interested in catering to the male audience rather than trying to make them look fashionable or interesting or fitting to the concept. These types of shorts are the equivalent to men's belts that they wear a lot, the ones that are bondagey kind of looking. They could look good, but most of the time they're used as a lazy way of appealing to whoever is attracted to that group physically. You know, with girl groups, it's usually for the guys who are watching the performances. It's just not particularly fashionable or interesting, and it's just like a lazy cop-out kind of way of styling things. Same with the belt that Yeri is wearing. I think that it's kind of, the silhouette is very flattering for her. I never like very bold, thick belts, because again, it seems like instead of trying to find a piece that's tailored properly or made properly in a way that does accentuate the waist in an interesting, flattering way, you just kind of place a belt on it to just be like, here's my waist, I have it. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a little lazy in my opinion. So a lot of the outfits in this comeback, what is wrong about them is not the fact that they are weird or that they combine different types of fabrics or different types of patterns. There's nothing wrong with some of those outfits. For example, got this outfit. They're fine, except again, Wendy gets a really strange outfit. It's just the fact that it's a recurring issue with a lot of styles that we're going to be talking about today. It's the fact that a lot of these outfits, it's like the stylists don't understand that you can't fit all materials or all silhouettes under some other materials and silhouettes. They're just gonna look too bulky in some places, and they're gonna look like they're not fitting. It's kind of like one of those things where it's close to being good even if it's weird, but it's messed up by the incompatibility of the materials or of the cuts of the shirts and stuff like that you're using. So for example, this outfit that Joy is wearing is actually pretty good, even though there's only one sleeve on the side and just one part of the collar color or whatever, it's great, you know, like it's the colors that are fitting and whatever. In this lineup of outfits, Irene's outfit is actually the one that I dislike the most, mostly because it's just so boring to compare to everything else that's going on, and it's not in a good way, especially with this type of shirt, empire waistline, but not really, because it's a little bit lower. Basically, these types of shirts, I think that most of the time they just look very early 2010, and not in a good way, you know. I don't even know if there's a good way to look like early 2010s. But so for example, with this Wendy's outfit, I actually don't mind this combination, but this skirt or whatever it is that they're using that's on top of this other piece, it's not quite fitting the amount of fabric that's supposed to be under it because of the layering. So for example, with this silhouette that Wendy has here, I don't even know if you would be able to see it well right here. The issue is not the combination, and the issue is not that this skirt is kind of going up a little bit on one side and doesn't go up on the other. There's no issue with asymmetry at all. It's just the length is unflattering. The fact that the top is in this triangle formation, but it's a little bit too low on her torso to the point where it just makes her whole figure look weird. And then also with this comeback, what I noticed is that they wear a lot of these boots that I genuinely like. I don't know why, but this shape of boots just most of the time just doesn't look good. I don't know if you can see it well. Honestly, this quality is not the best, but they're just this little boots with a little heel. I know that it's for dancing and whatever. I'm not saying that the heels need to be bigger or anything like that, but it's just this type of boots rarely looks good, and they heavily overuse it in this comeback. Like, I don't mind it on Joy here, but most of the time it just isn't great. Also, this hair is so much better on Joy than the one that they used originally, where this is what they went with. Yeah, I guess it's braids. I'm not entirely sure what the different types are, but the thing is, I just don't know what for, like why. They're an international kind of group now, you know. The head of the company that they are working for, SM, he seems to be pushing for a Western audience. Like, he wants to expand, he wants to include more territories where they could sell their albums and appeal to wider audiences. And I can't quite understand why they're so adamant about pissing off the American demographic. I guess not just the American one, but the American one is the one that has the most discourse, that's internationally known about cultural appropriation and about hair specifically. I just don't know what for. Why would you risk offending the fans and making them feel uncomfortable for like using a hairstyle? Like, you could use any other hairstyle. This just seems like a stupid decision, you know. They are so careful about their public image, about their idols and their public image, to the point where they don't really speak on many things much, you know. They try to be very palatable, I guess, to many people, but then they do this, and it's like, I just don't get it. So to be honest, I like this styling. There's mistakes mostly in the silhouettes and in the fact that the fabrics don't mesh well sometimes. And of course, this Wendy's outfit, like, I agree, it's atrocious. That one needs to go. Somi Birthday, this one was also very common. People commented it a lot. I can see why. With this one, I'm gonna have to agree that the styling wasn't well done. They did have a couple of good ideas. It's not like the styling was absolutely void of anything in terms of concept. What I think they were going for, there was a lot of this foily looking bodices on top of shirts and stuff like that. I think they were going for like a little bit of a youthful, quirky kind of look, a lot of colors, this high Converse shoes and whatever. And I think that the bodices, the way that they were going about it, I think they were trying to make her look like present, because there was a lot of gifts and a lot of like boxes and stuff like that in the stages, and of course in the music video. And I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea to incorporate bows, like really massive bows. I think that's actually a pretty cool idea for concept of the song and the video and everything. The execution, however, is really lacking. There were some people who were saying her background dancers look better or whatever. This was the look where people were talking about it. They don't look better. They are just plainer. There's no effort put into their outfits that much, to be honest. It's just a sparkly top that matches her bodice and black shorts that I've told you about before that I really don't like them, just because it's entirely lazy. They're not dressed better. It's just their outfits are not taking any big risks. Their outfits are not that hard on your eyes because they're so simple and so lazy, so they're less offensive to your eye. you just don't see it as bad as this look. And the issue with Somi's look here is not the bodice, even though it is kind of like, it does look like gift wrapper and whatever. I think that that's actually brilliant. Like this piece that they chose for the outfit, just don't like the rest of it. The shirt on top, I understand that they were going for like a mixing of something more casual, a little bit sporty, and something that's very elegant and a little bit stage outfitty, you know. The issue with that is the shirt, it just doesn't work with this outfit, not because of the color or something, but first of all, not a good idea to have it this length. It's too long to just be part of the top and too short to be something more interesting that looks a little bit like a dress. It's just not working as either or, you know, and that's the only two things this type of shirt could work for with a bodice like that. Second of all, the neckline doesn't work with this bodice at all. It's just not working. Third of all, the shirt is a little bit more loose, but not in a good way. A type of shirt that could work under this type of bodice would be loose. It's something that has a silhouette of a classic blouse, you know. Maybe it still would be very risky, and I would still have to tell you that I don't know if that would look really good, but it would look better than this. You can't have a t-shirt that's a little bit oversized, has really big sleeves on the sides, and then have this bodice there. There's a lot of blue patterns going on, so it kind of blends in enough that it's a little bit strange. It's just unfinished, and all of the decisions about how long the shirt is, how big the sleeves are, what kind of neckline we're working with, all of these decisions were not right for the type of concept and the type of bodice that they were building the outfit around, you know? Just doesn't work. Another thing is, again, the goddamn black shorts. It's, again, they just didn't know what to do because they already put too much stuff on it, on the outfit, to the point where it was just impossible to make anything look good. But it's because the silhouette is already not working. And then there's this outfit. Again, people were complaining about the moving parts, like this tassel or whatever the hell they're called. I don't mind it. I just don't think that it's well done. Again, they wanted to go for this, like the mixing of the sporty silhouettes and this glamorous aspects that are inspired by the 20s. And the issue here is you get the shorts, it's the same shorts as always, but just in white. Again, I can't do it. Like, I can forgive it for stage outfits just because it's such a stage staple, but if it doesn't work with the rest of the outfit, I'm gonna complain about it anyway. And the top, again, neckline doesn't work. This outfit is not terrible in terms of how, like, what it looks like while she's performing, because the moving parts of it are very flattering for the choreography, because the choreography, it usually is quite empty or hard to make it look dynamic when you're working with a solo artist where there's just like a bunch of people around them, but you have to be focusing on one person. With that, these moving parts were really dynamic and a nice way to distract the eye from just very simple moves, like parts in the choreography where it's way too simple and doesn't work maybe that well. But the fact that this outfit just doesn't look good on its own, it makes the whole thing not work again. So Momoland, Bboom Bboom. Once again, one of those things that people mentioned so many times. What you see here is what you basically get from them. It's those shorts again that I can't stand. There's nothing wrong about dressing up in like more of a sexy kind of manner or whatever it is. I don't like when voyeurism affects fashion. You know that those stylists were picking it for the sake of appealing to the male gaze, and it just irks me a little bit just because the male gaze always leads to the most boring outfits ever. It's always things that are not fashionable at all. It's better to not wear anything at that point than wear that, you know? And this kind of similar with this. I know that it's, some people might find it cute, you know, because it's like tennis skirts and jumpers and whatever, and I get it, but if you look at their outfits on stages and stuff like that, it's always those shorts without safety shorts that usually are worn on stages. In general, it's just not my cup of tea, so maybe I'm a little bit more harsh on them because of that, because it's literally the opposite of everything I like. Let me know if you disagree with that, like let me know if this is your favorite styling. Another controversial one. We're here with NCT 127 Fire Truck. I believe it's their first song. That was their debut. NCT is the only boy group that I follow. I'm more of a girl myself. And again, it's the same as with Red Velvet Zimzalabim. I know where they were going for. I like the concept that they were going for. I like a few of the outfits, and there's just a few things about the decisions that they made in that room where they were working on it or whatever, where they decided on this ugly material that they put everywhere that ruined so many looks. And that material is this golden polyester-esque material or the silver one. SM is a really big company, okay? They're quite massive. They've got money. What's up with all these polyester pants that look terrible? Why are we doing this? I looked it up, and this song came out in 2016. I would have forgiven this if it was 2012. 2016, it would have still looked bad back then too, but 2016, girl, why? Why was that a thing? Because basically how I see this styling is, again, it's using a little bit of like some kind of quirk, you know, a bit of not whimsical as Red Velvet, but still kind of quirky, you know, a lot of layering going on. Once again, there are issues with layering in terms of stylists trying to fit shirts that are too big to be under something, under another shirt, for example. And it's like you could have chosen the same type of shirt but just a smaller size or a different cut a little bit, and it would look so much better. A lot of them are very creative and work really well. For example, I think that it looks fantastic on Taeil. So Taeil, like for example, look at this picture. Are you kidding me? If I would have been around for that era, maybe he would have been my bias, because this is fantastic. The hair fits him really well. Usually they do him dirty with the hair, but this is fantastic. He's like it's a little bit punky, a little bit grungy. This choker fits him so well. This shirt is perfect. I don't like the material of the pants. Once again, I don't want to see any of that cheap polyester anywhere. Really like this look on him. This is fantastic, and it fits the concept so well. It fits the song so well. The song is very loud, abrasive. It has a lot of switch ups. I love the bass line of the song. You might disagree with me, but this is fantastic. You might disagree with me, but you're wrong, okay? Taeyong fits this aesthetic and this concept really, really well. This grungy kind of brat, this like, you know, punk thing really, really suits him. All of those like collars and like chokers and stuff like that looks really good on him. Win's outfits and stuff like that weren't bad either. Some were really shaky, and this outfit that we have with Haechan, it's fine. Mark again, the goddamn pants. Get this material out of my face. I hate that material so much. Another thing about this styling is that they were so adamant about putting them into quite skinny pants. They're not jeans though. You should have given them oversized pants for this type of comeback, this type of concept. It just, in those cases where they had tight jeans, it looked okay, because tight jeans, like, I know that it was more stylish in 2016 to wear tight jeans, and also it just doesn't look as bad. For example, this outfit, right? If you look at it right here without seeing the bottom, right, it actually looks pretty good. You might disagree with me, but I think it looks quirky in a good way. It looks experimental in a good way. I like the long skirt. I love long straight skirts in men's styling. I absolutely adore it. I think it looks really hot. It's cool, you know? But then when you actually see the outfit, the entirety of it, that's when I have an issue, okay? I see those damn pants under it again. I see it just a little bit peeking out, and it ruins the entire thing. Also, the material of the top, it would have been so much better if it didn't have any glossiness to it, and also wouldn't be stretchy, so stretchy, because you can tell that this material is stretchy since it's sagging just a little bit at different places, because it's being tugged on his back or something like that. I don't know, it's just this type of material always moves around and has this like a little bit of a like stretch. You can see it in the pictures as well, and I wish it wasn't so stretchy, because it would look a lot better if it had a little bit of a rigidity to it. Oh my god, I just looked at Taeil. Another thing is, for example, with Haechan here, this overall look would be okay if the overalls were, one, not glossy again, but even if they were glossy, it would have been fine if they weren't so small. Like, they're definitely not tight on him, but they're not big enough, and they don't fall, like the fabric doesn't fall in a way that flatters this look, especially considering that he's wearing a thick jumper under it. You have to, again, try and find something that is big enough so it doesn't look like his layers under the top layer don't fit under it. You know, I'm pretty forgiving with experimental outfits, honestly. It's just some of the materials and sometimes the layering where it doesn't work. Again, Taeyong fits this concept really well. These tight pants don't look that bad in this context, because they're more of actually being tight, not like slightly loose, slightly confusingly in between tight and loose, you know. I had to include another picture of Taeil from this era because he was really doing well. This hair color, this accessories, everything was working for him. He fits this concept, and I think that all of them can fit this concept. Like, their music is quite textured and loud and abrasive sometimes, and a bit of a mix of things. I think this concept can work really, really well for them if they're styled in better materials, where you look at them, you don't like go, oh my god, what the hell is those pants? A little bit more punk, a little bit more grunge. The next one is Loona, Why Not? So I was kind of of confused by this. First of all, I am not a fan of Loona, not because I don't like them. I just never listened to them or anything like that. So I don't know their names, and when I'm gonna be referring to them, I'm just gonna be, you know, pointing or whatever. This was just confusing, okay? What is the concept, right? I watched the music video to help me understand the concept, and I'm gonna say that the music video does give a bit more of context, because it's kind of like, why not do what you want to do, kind of. They're wearing different types of outfits to fit different types of aesthetics, because they're showing different types of situations where you could be this, you could be that, you could be whatever you want, basically. And I think that the issue with that concept, especially in terms of the stages, is that they were picking one of the concepts, one of the sets, and dressing everyone in that aesthetic, which seems like it should have been a good thing, but it makes this era very messy and unsure of itself. Like, for example, a lot of people were complaining about the Western outfits or whatever. I actually think a lot of them are really cute. Like, a lot of those outfits are really cute. I just don't like the amount of concepts that they have for one song and one stage, multiple performances, whatever. But I think that if they were trying to show that you could be anything and you can approach anything in any way you want to, and you can wear whatever you like, or what they should have done is follow the formula of the music video a little bit more, in terms of a lot of scenes that kind of showed the girls wearing what they want or being what they want. There were individual scenes or scenes with a couple of members or whatever, and I think that that's what they should have done. They should have assigned a kind of aesthetic to each one of them. One of them or two of them could have been wearing this Western type of outfits, and someone else could have been wearing something otherworldly or alien-like, like those big puffy sleeves, like the silver ones that one of them was wearing in the music video, or something that's like an altered general's outfit, general's uniform or whatever. And I know that it would have been messy in some way when you look at the stage, but it would serve the concept a lot better, and it would make sense for them to have so many different concepts styling wise. Right now I'm watching this stage mix, and it's like, what is the concept? Is just they keep on jumping from one thing to another, and it makes absolutely no sense with the concept of the song and the video. So most of these outfits, I don't hate them. I just don't think that it carries the concept at all. Usually I can tell by the stage, I'm like, oh, well, this is supposed to be a summer comeback, or this is supposed to be a girl crush comeback. In this case, I was just confused. Okay, the next one is really confusing to me. I was very surprised to see it because I kind of love that styling, and that one is Twice Feel Special. I really like this era. I really like this song. I really like the music video. I adore these outfits. There are some issues I have with those outfits, but those issues are not necessarily, they're not that bad, you know? So for example, the issues that I have with it is Dahyun's dress, the way that it fits, it's a little bit too high at the front and a bit lower at the back, and you can tell that it's being tugged up because it doesn't fit her correctly on her bust. I don't know why they didn't correct it. It's definitely, like, they definitely alter all of the outfits, you know? So why not make it a bit more fitting so it doesn't look like it doesn't fit her bust? Jungyoung, her dress, a lot of people complain about it as well. I think that I noticed with her styling, what I have noticed is that they like to, if they ever put her in an outfit that's just as revealing, I guess that would be the word, as everybody else in the group, it would be like a short skirt or something like that, something that shows off her legs, but keep on covering up her entire top part with very bulky clothing. And I have a suspicion that they just like decided to themselves it would fit her better if she shows off her bottom part of the body but covers up the top. They're not doing her any justice. I think that I just saw her so many times in this type of neckline. She's young, she's pretty. I feel like they keep on aging her with this really bulky tops. I know that people were not happy about the cuts and about like the fact that it's kind of simple or whatever. I think that it would have looked really good if the top looked like a cocktail dress in some shape or form, and it doesn't mean that it has to be showing skin or anything like that. If maybe Jungyeon doesn't want to or something like that, maybe she likes it to be full shirt or like a, you know, long sleeve kind of situation, maybe she likes that. I think that it's just thinner material, and material that doesn't bulk up on the shoulders would look a lot better, and especially no like very tight crew neck kind of cuts either. It just doesn't fit with the overall aesthetic. I think it makes it look a lot more plainer than every other outfit that the girls are wearing, so it looks like she's being unfairly treated, you know? This color suits her really well though, and like just think that they should be doing more for her because she's already so pretty. It's so easy to dress people like that who are pretty like that she's already hot. You don't even have to do anything. So I like, sometimes I don't understand the decisions that they're making. I actually really like these outfits. Once again, the materials, for example, the material of the pants that Jihyo is wearing, this material is hard to make look good. I like the color, I like that it's shiny, but it will crinkle up like this no matter what you do. It will stay like that and then crinkle even more no matter what you do. It's just the type of material, and it will make lines kind of like in the crotch area because of the material and stuff like that. So I personally usually don't like this type of material because it's so hard to actually use, and I still really like these outfits. I think these outfits are great, and especially when I saw them in the music video for the first time, I died. That was, oh, I loved it. I loved it. I think it's so cute. Another outfit from Feel Special. The thing with this, I think that their stylist is doing a really good job at balancing the colors, balancing the amount of, for example, silver and black in this case, to the point where it doesn't feel like they're all wearing the same things, but it also feels like they look good together. They do have some similarities in terms of some key aspects of their outfits to the point where it does tie it all together. However, I don't like the material, this silver material that they used, because not because of the color or because it's silver or something like that. It's just the material is very cheap look, and I understand that it's very expensive to produce these outfits, but I'm sure they could have made it out of the same material as they made this outfits, the ones that Nayeon is wearing here and Chu is wearing here, you know, like this silky material, and it would have made this lineup of outfits perfect, I think, for stage. Just because the thing is also, we're talking about stage outfits, so they need to be sparkly or over the top sometimes, or even if the material doesn't look that good up close, the most important thing is that it looks good in the lineup, it looks good in formations, it looks good with the choreography. And I think these outfits are looking good. It's just, you can see that it's a very, maybe it's not even cheap, maybe it's actually an expensive material, it just looks cheap. You can see from afar that it looks cheap, and I wish they used something else to create these outfits, the silver parts of the outfits. Okay, so the next one is Dance the Night Away, and I think it's the last one, and I actually agree with this. First of all, I am a summer hater. I'm sorry about that. I know that a lot of you are going to be not happy about it, but I don't like summer. I don't like really hot weather. I like spring or autumn. So summer comebacks, they don't do it for me like they do it for many people. The styling here, there's a lot of silhouettes that are unflattering. For example, in this first image, Momo's outfit just doesn't do it. It has no shape, right? But then in this image where she's standing like this, you can tell that there's a cut on the side, and all of a sudden it doesn't look that bad. However, it's not enough. When you actually watch the performance or whatever, it's not enough to fix the fact that the silhouette is not working. And it's the same with Jonghyun again. They gave her a silhouette that it wouldn't work for anybody. It's just unflattering in general for a human form. But you know what? But this outfit, at least they kind of fit the concept, right? Like the summery concept. There's so many outfits that just make no sense with the concept, and it's because, again, I don't remember when it came out, but I have a feeling that it probably came out around the time when there were a lot of end of the year shows or award shows. Let me show you, because look at these outfits right here. This is such a classic, like, just put them into shorts and white blouses and call it a day. Put a bunch of frills on it. It's gonna be good for an award show. There are outfits that work really well, and there are so many that just don't work. Like, for example, this, I know that it's the end of the year, but it's just so not fitting for the song or the concept that I'm baffled that they put them in these typical outfits for the end of the year show. Not a good idea. It's just not a good idea, because Dance the Night Away just doesn't work with all this wintry kind of aesthetic. These white dresses are really great though. Not all of them. There's two. Let me show you. Okay, so first of all, I forgot to mention this lineup of outfits doesn't work. It's not summery or beachy enough. For example, this white outfits, I said that I like the white outfits. This lineup doesn't work either. It's, again, not fitting to the concept of the song. Yes, it's white. Yes, it's short. Yes, it's like a bunch of like short little dresses that you would wear in warmer weather, but it's the rigidity of the silhouettes and the materials and the way that they are tailored. It's not summery or beachy at all. However, these ones that kind of look like dresses that you would wear on the beach or on the resort or something like that, these outfits are amazing, work really well. And also, Jihyo looked so good in those white outfits. Like, her tan looked so nice. It was a really good combination. Like, she just looked very summery and radiant. Like, she really fit that concept. I want to mention that, yes, I'm a summer hater, yes, but they just had alcohol-free comeback, and that is a better summery concept comeback than Dance the Night Away. First of all, the song is just chill and very resorty, but it worked. I actually like that song, even though I usually don't like stuff like that. The outfits are fantastic. It actually makes summer look appealing even to me. and I'm the biggest hater of summer. Alright, so this is the stuff that I have for today. I thought that maybe it's gonna be quite a short video, but now knowing the amount of time that I've been going on about it, turns out that I've prepared quite a bit of information here, and it's gonna be a long one. If you're still here, thank you for watching. Bye!